Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Terp Family Fundamentals webinar series. My name is Danielle Walker, and I'm the Assistant Director in the Office of Family Engagement here at the University of Maryland. For those of you that are new to this webinar series, this is intended to help you become informed consultants on campus resources and help you support your Terps. Today, we're joined by members of the DREAM team, that is the Department of Resident Life. They will discuss everything you need to know about fall move-in, the many resources that are in place for your students to acclimate to campus, and also meet other Terps, as well as how you can support your Terp as they navigate this process. If you find you have questions, please feel free to submit those via the Q&A feature. To access the Q&A feature, you can find the two conversation bubbles towards the bottom of your screen, or wherever you have your toolbar located. It should also say Q&A. If you don't see that, you may need to click the three dots to expand the toolbar. To help us answer questions that the majority of you have, I ask that you use the upvote option. So within the Q&A feature, if you see a question that you would also like the answer to, instead of typing that same question, just select the thumbs up icon. This is called an upvote, and we'll be prioritizing those questions with the most upvotes. Be sure to also look at the answered tab as well for questions that have already been responded to. We'll be doing our best to answer as many questions as we can, but also at the end of this webinar, once we're done, myself and my resident life staff will be going through the Q&A and getting that in a nice document together and sharing that also on the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to get the Q&A after the webinar. Lastly, this webinar is going to be recorded, as I mentioned, so it'll be on our Terp Family YouTube channel tomorrow. So refer to your confirmation or reminder email with a link to our YouTube channel. So with that, I will hand off the presentation to Kia. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, Danny, and welcome everyone. Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. We are so excited to talk with you this evening and hopefully help you feel a little more prepared for arriving later this month. Before we jump in and share all that good information, we're going to do a little bit of some introduction so that you can get to know who's going to be talking with you this evening or afternoon. So I'll start. My name is Kia Whedon. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the assistant to the director here at the University of Maryland in the Department of Resident Life. I'm going to kick it over to Erin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Schlegel. I'm one of the assistant directors within the community staff here in the Department of Resident Life, and I use she, her pronouns. Good to be with you.
And Dan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Harefield. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the program manager for residential and community engagement here with Resident Life. I'm also a Terp alum.
Fantastic. All right, I'd also like to now introduce our director, Dennis Passarella George, who will also welcome you to this presentation and talk to you a little bit about our program. Dennis.
Thanks, Kia. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Passarella George. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I serve as the director in the Department of Resident Life within the Division of Student Affairs here in Maryland. I wanted to let you know that we are excited to welcome our newest Terps to campus and have them join the Maryland residential experience. I hope you know by now, our more than just a place to live. In fact, the importance of our residence halls is that they are a place for all of our students to be able to grow, connect, engage, and thrive. And what you'll hear tonight is all the things you need to know to get ready for move-in and get ready for the start of the year. I also want to acknowledge that this is a huge time of transition. So let me first say to you and to all of our newest Terps, congratulations. Take a deep breath, enjoy every moment, and get ready. Move-in is an amazing time. It is super exciting. It's a time of new beginnings and an amazing adventure. It's also a time that can be stressful and somewhat anxiety-provoking. I know this will be true for lots of our new Terps, and I'm sure it'll be true for many of you as well. I have a couple bits of advice. First is, please let them lead. Give them a little bit of space to adjust and transition and to immerse themselves into our Terrapin community and to make those choices and engage with us the way they want to engage as new Terps. Give them a little bit of space. I also want you to know that we will be here to help them every step of the way. You'll hear some of this from our great team tonight, And I want you to know that we've got an entire staff in Resident Life, and our job is really to be in this with our students and to help them so that every resident can thrive. Tonight, we've got lots of information to share with you. I will encourage you, like we would all of our students, soak in all the information, do your homework. We've got great information that's available for you on our website and in all the materials you have. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation because we've got a lot of great information to share. We can't wait to see you in a few weeks at Move-In, and go Terps. Thanks for being here. Kia, back over to you.
Thank you, Dennis. So as you prepare for moving, one of the first things that's probably important is where are you going to? So it's important to know where you're moving into. Your room assignment information was released last month in July, and it included your students' housing details. Those details are the hall, the room in which they will move into, as well as the room type. The information that you also should have received is roommate information and how to contact them. And we encourage you to do that early on. We'll talk a little bit later about roommates, and so we'll review that in a bit. The room assignment information also included your student's specific move-in arrival window and instructions. Again, that information will be covered a little more in depth later, and so we'll get into details then. Students can view all of this information by going to their housing portal. And as you can see here on the slide, you can get to that portal by going to our website, reslife.umd.edu. Now, additionally, if a student has been approved for an early arrival before our main move-in, which starts on Thursday, August 22nd, that updated information can also be found in the housing portal. And just as a refresher, our staff will look at a variety of factors, including special needs and accommodations, living learning program participation, roommate requests, and living style preferences to find the best match possible for your student when it comes to these room assignments that have now been released. Should you or your student have any questions, please know that we are here to help, and we encourage you or your student to reach out to our assignments office to get any questions answered. That information is also on this slide. You can either email us at reslife@umd.edu or call us at 301-314-2100. So we know where the room is. Hopefully, let's talk a little bit about what you'll find in the room when you arrive. Each room has a standard furniture package for each student. And that furniture package includes a desk, a dresser, bed, mattress, and closet space. Also in the room, all residents have wired and wireless internet capabilities and free access to Xfinity Stream. You can see a couple examples of furnished and decorated rooms on the screen right now. And we have more examples of various room types on our website, which includes several resources to get a sense of the different styles of room and the amenities for each of our buildings and our communities. And you can find that by either going to the virtual layouts we have on our website or the 360 tours that can kind of give you a visual look of the room. If for some reason there's no 360 tour available for the specific building of your student, there's often a comparable one within that community. So knowing the room assignment, having a sense of the layouts, good stuff. But let's talk about that natural next step, which is how to make the space feel like your student's home away from home. So we definitely encourage personalizing the space, but we also want to remind you to keep a few things in mind as your student plans to move into our residence halls to create that home away from home feel. First, since the room is a shared space, it'll be important to not only think about what it means to share the space with another person, but it's also helpful to encourage your student to start some discussion about what your student and their roommate plan to bring to the room. So there's some coordination and collaboration with the shared space. So this includes thinking about what your student actually needs right now, since the space is shared. Meaning you don't have to bring everything you own right now, though it might be tempting. For example, perhaps leaving some of those warmer clothes home for now and perhaps bring those sweaters or those sweatshirts around family weekend or Thanksgiving when it's more that, that time of the year to do that. And as you help your student settle in, uh, their room will initially be in a standard layout. So the furniture can be rearranged, but the furniture cannot be removed. So that standard furniture package I mentioned in the last slide is what stays in the room. So you can move the furniture if you like, but please make sure to avoid blocking any of the air control systems like heat, air conditioning, or dehumidification. Another pro tip we like to share about personalization includes the magic of blue painter's tape, as well as poster putty. We highly recommend both for hanging posters and pictures. And blue painter's tape is really helpful as well if your student is considering LED lights. We recommend affixing those lights to the painter's tape and then to the wall to help minimize wall damage. Speaking of, we'd also suggest avoiding decorative vinyl decals. We know they're popular, but and they're promoted to be easy to remove, but we have seen that they have caused some significant damage to walls, floors, and furniture, resulting sometimes in some significant restitution. One more pro tip for you about personalizing the space is, we love a good Amazon. My own toddler recognizes Amazon and likes to open those packages thinking they're all his own. So we are asking though that, use what you need, but do not ship any of those items before your student has moved in. We recommend planning to send those packages or other deliveries to be shipped to campus after your student has arrived and has checked in to their residence hall room. This is because shipping items early could cause a delay in your student receiving their package because when things are sent to us, they go to a sorting area and it takes time to then get disseminated out into the community. So the website you see highlighted here has a lot of the information that I have discussed. It also has a helpful list of items to bring and not to bring, including items related to fire and electrical safety, like e-scooters. So the other thing that we want to make sure that we drive home here tonight is that students should go in knowing that they will likely have a roommate. And for many students, having a roommate is a new experience. So we would like for you to encourage your student to reach out before move-in day and start to develop that relationship before getting here. And even when students may know each other from high school or childhood, they likely have never shared a living space and there will be an adjustment. So the best piece of advice you can give is the best way to have a good roommate is to be a good roommate. These relationships are reciprocal, and not everyone has experienced sharing a space with another person. So communication is key. Each student, we hope, will invest in the roommate relationship to make it work. And students should go into the roommate relationship with an open mind and willingness to compromise and talk about both interests and concerns. We have some wonderful stories of roommates who did not know each other before moving in, but became the best of friends because they exhibited that care and connection, talking through communication and talking about interests and concerns with their roommates. Now, we also will provide a number of opportunities to build that relationship once they arrive. Like we have meet and greets with the resident assistants, fall welcome activities, which Dan will talk about later, and conversations around the community living agreement, which helps roommates discuss some of the important living elements and preferences that can help foster a more comfortable living arrangement. You've heard us say this several times, and I'll say it again. Our staff is here to help. So if problems or disagreements arise, students should know that they can reach out to their RA as a resource who could help them mediate or even resolve the conflict if the student pair or the roommate pair are unable to resolve the resolution themselves. So now that we've talked a little bit about the room assignment, what you'll find in the room, making it feel like home away from home, and sharing the space, I'm going to now send it over to Erin, who's going to talk to you more about our programs, starting with the safety in our residence halls.
Thanks, Kia. Good evening, everyone. Your student safety is our top priority, and it is a shared responsibility. So I'd first like to talk about what we provide in the residence halls to keep your students safe. First, we have secure entrances. So the only way to get into your assigned residence halls is with your UID card. We have a triple barrier system, so you need to swipe into the building, you need to swipe to access the stairwells or the elevator. And then once you're inside the elevator, you need to swipe again to get to your floor. And then the last barrier is your room key. We also have our 24/7 service desks. So each of your students will be assigned to a service desk, which is either located in the lobby of their residence hall or in a neighboring building within close proximity to their building. And they're welcome to go to that desk anytime they have a question, a concern, if they need a spare key. That is also where they'll pick up their packages and their mail. And on top of the 24/7 service desks, we also have our on-call staff that are available anytime our offices are closed 365 to assist your students with any emergencies or concerns that may arise. All right, so we also have expectations for our residents when they live with us. Like I said before, this is a shared responsibility. And so we expect that our students are locking their doors and that they're carrying their keys and their UID, their swipe cards, with them at all times. That's a really good thing for your students to talk about their roommates with, so that they have a mutual understanding about locking the door. We want our students to be responsible for their whereabouts and the actions of their guests or visitors. Our residence hall rules apply to anyone who enters our residence halls. So if your student invites a guest from another building or someone from back home, your student is responsible for their behavior. And it's really important that your student is never afraid to let us know if they need help. We'll keep repeating that theme throughout our presentation. We are always available to assist. So if something doesn't seem right in the residence halls, something seems out of the norm, they should come and tell someone immediately, whether that's the student working at the service desk or their RA. And we will be on the ready to help them. All right, so let's talk about the big day. I'm sure this is probably the part you're most excited to learn about, and that's fall move-in. All right, and we have a small video to help you to walk through the steps that your student will take when they arrive to campus to get checked in and moved into the residence halls.
August is just around the corner, and we're sure you're excited about getting to move into your on-campus home at the University of Maryland. To help prepare you for your move-in process, we will outline the steps to move in. If possible, it's best to have at least 3 people to help with the move-in process: a driver, someone to watch the belongings at curbside, and of course the student to check in and retrieve the room keys. First, review your passport information for directions and parking information. Enter campus and follow directional signs and instructions given by university police and parking attendants to drive to your residence hall. The routes are designed to reduce traffic bottlenecks and speed up your move-in day process. Please note, some of the streets become one-way during move-in. It'll be busy and there are limited unloading areas, so we ask for your patience. Much like an airport, once a spot becomes available in the unloading zone closest to your residence hall, temporarily park and quickly unload belongings onto the curb. The driver must remain with the vehicle at all times while in the unloading zone. In less than 10 minutes, the driver should move the vehicle out of the unloading zone to the designated long-term parking location. The remaining passengers can stay with the unloaded belongings. While belongings are unloaded, Students should head directly to their check-in desk location to receive their room keys and check-in materials. Staff will be available to welcome you and to provide arrival support. For example, if you have trouble accessing the building, please call your service desk to gain entry. Students should then return to the curb and help move their belongings into the room because now it's time to unpack and get settled into your new space. Please remember to take your move-in trash and recycling out to the marked exterior bins. For additional information, check out our website at www.reslife.umd.edu/move-in. We can't wait to see you in August and welcome you to UMD and the Maryland Residential Experience. Go Terps!
Great, well, we hope you enjoyed that video. And I'd like to reiterate a few points and elaborate on a few points that were made in the video. The main 2 days of move-in for our new students are Thursday, August 22nd and Friday, August 23rd. And when your student received their room assignment in July and their roommate information, they also received their arrival passport, which is available on their housing portal. And that passport lists your student's specific move-in date and time. So if you're not aware of that date and time, please check in with your student about that. And if the passport says 11 a.m. on Thursday, please don't arrive at 10 a.m. or at 1 p.m. We will be best prepared for you at 11 a.m. Now, certainly, if you arrive early or you get here a little bit later, we will be ready for you, but we would like for you to do your best to get here at your assigned time. And that's because our process is coordinated to account for construction, traffic in some of the neighboring buildings that are also moving in, and the volume of students that move into each of those buildings. So for context, we have more than 5,000 students that will be moving in between those 2 days. And so when students follow our directives, it makes for a smoother process. And I'd like to reiterate the importance of your move-in dream team that was mentioned in the video. And so when you arrive, you'll enter through the assigned entry point of campus, which is listed on your arrival passport. Then you'll follow the signs and your move-in map to get to your unloading zone. Once you arrive to your unloading zone, the driver must stay with the vehicle. The student goes inside to check in, and the driver and the helper unload the vehicle curbside. And you must unload the entire vehicle curbside. The helper will stay with those items, and the driver will take the car to your designated long-term parking location. Then the student will come back to meet up with the helper and the belongings. The driver will come back, and then you can have all the time you need to take the items up to your room and get settled. But the turnover of those unloading zones are really critical so that our Terps and families can get as close to the building as possible for the shortest amount of time possible. And we are welcoming so many people, like I said before, about 5,000 people between those 2 days. So please plan accordingly. All right, so a few other move-in tips to make things smooth. Take advantage of the list of items to bring so that you're only bringing exactly what you need and that you're not bringing too much. So packing light is a really good plan. I think Kia mentioned that earlier too. You don't need to bring everything you own all at once because you will be sharing the space with another student. And so we want to make sure we have enough space for everyone. There will be lots of staff and move-in volunteers that will be on the ready to welcome you, answer questions, and to get you access to hopefully a yellow cart. We will have some available, but we have a limited number of yellow carts. So we strongly suggest that you bring your own foldable wagon or hand truck or dolly so that you can start moving things as quickly as possible and that you're not waiting for a yellow cart on move-in day. Certainly move-in can be a stressful time. We recognize that. Just the process of moving in, likely on a hot day, and leaving your student to be on their own can be really emotional and overwhelming. But please know that there is a huge network of resident life staff on the ready to support your student. And we hope that you all can bring some positive energy with you on move-in day, so that we can make it a memorable one for your Terp. And please be prepared with water, so that you can stay cool. We will have some water available, but we want to make sure you have everything you need so that you can take care of yourself. We also have a few rental options that you can take advantage of and reserve ahead of time. That's myfridgerental.com has mini fridges and micro fridges available. And if you reserve them by the deadline, they will be delivered to your student's room upon move-in, so that can be very convenient. We also work with a vendor called bedloft.com, and they provide lofting kits if your space can support a bed loft. And that raises the bed so that it allows for extra storage under the bed. And if you order the bed loft by the deadline, it will be set up prior to your arrival. And so again, you'll see lots of smiling faces upon your arrival with our Terp welcome crew, our RAs, our resident directors, and other resident life staff to answer your questions and guide you through the move-in process. So please don't hesitate to reach out with your questions or concerns. Right, now I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Dan Harefield, to talk about our incredible fall welcome schedule. Dan.
Thank you, Erin. All right, so you finish move-in. Maybe you run over to the Stamp Student Union, grab a scoop of Maryland dairy ice cream, stop by the campus store to get that Maryland gear, run out, grab a bite to eat. At some point, you're going to have that touching moment, that emotional moment, where you tell your student how proud of them you are. You tell them how excited you are that they're starting their college experience, and then you let them spread their turtle wings and fly. At that point, as Dennis said at the beginning of this presentation, we've got them. We're here to support them to make sure that every resident thrives. That starts first with move-in, of course, but then with fall welcome. Fall welcome is a whole series of events that we host over the course of the extended weekend that help students get acclimated to the campus. It helps them get connected with other students, with campus resources, and get excited about being a Terp and starting off their time here at the University of Maryland. So a little bit about the details of Fall Welcome. So our events start on Thursday, the 22nd, in the evening, kind of after 4 or 5 o'clock. Students will grab dinner. If they're in a living learning program, they'll have some welcome events specific to the living learning program. And then we'll have additional events that take place around campus for the remainder of the evening. On Friday, kind of similar start, roughly around 4 o'clock. Students will come together for meet and greets. And then their RAs are going to take them over to the Xfinity Center for the new student welcome. That's where they get an official welcome by our president, Dr. Darrell Pines, and other members of the University of Maryland community. They're going to get their dinner there as well. So an important moment to go be in community with other new students and engage in that welcoming experience. And then we'll have a number of events that take place the rest of the evening over in the Stamp Student Union. Invite them to learn a little bit more about our Residence Hall Association and other campus resources that we have here. Saturday is chock full of events. We're starting early in the morning with a community 5K and yoga with our alumni association. And then we hit our major event called Free Fest, which is literally a festival of free stuff. We set up in McKeldin Mall. We have about 70 different participants between on-campus departments and offices and programs. And some of our community representatives and shops and businesses are all going to come together to help students learn about the resources that are here to support them in a festival environment with music and games and prizes and giveaways and all sorts of fun things. A little bit later that evening, we have Welcome to the Big Show. You can see an image on the screen right now, and that is the athletics kickoff. It's the Maryland Traditions kickoff for our students. It's an opportunity for our students to really get into that Terp spirit. And at the end of that event, they actually take a class photo for the class of 2028 on the Maryland football field. We have late night Terp thing with a concert and movies and all sorts of things over in the Stamp Student Union for the remainder of that evening. And then Sunday, we're helping students start to prep and get ready for the start of their classes. There are some welcome events from some of our academic partners. We have shopping shuttles that are going to be taking students from the campus over to IKEA, a special event at IKEA College Park. We have Find Your Way tours, where we're going to help students get a sense of where their classes are located so they're prepared for the next day when they're going to those first classes. And we have a whole bunch of campus partners. We have affinity group welcomes that are hosting these opportunities to help students continue these connections and get ready for the start of the semester. You can see all of this information on our website at reslife.umd.edu/fall welcome. The full list of events are there. We actually have a few that go into the first week of classes as well. So some additional affinity group welcomes will take place on that Tuesday and Wednesday during that first week of classes. Then beyond that, we'll talk a little bit more in just a moment about some additional events, but I just want to give a quick reminder of these important dates. New student move-in, the 22nd and 23rd. Fall welcome extends until the 25th. And then finally, once those classes begin on the 26th, we've hit the ground running and we're at the start of a brand new opportunity, a brand new semester. You can check out the dates online as well at reslife.umd.edu/dates. So I said those connections don't stop once the classes start. We have a whole bunch of opportunities for students to get connected to the campus, starting from their own individual residential communities. The hall and area councils, which are part of our Residence Hall Association, are a way for students who maybe really enjoyed leadership in high school to jump right into an opportunity at the start of their college career here with us. They can run to become a part of their hall or area council board and have a voice within their community to make sure that it is the most meaningful experience that they can possibly have with us here in our residence halls. Host events and connect with other students across the community. During the second week of classes, we have what's called the First Look Fair. This is an opportunity for our students to connect with the over 650 student organizations. We have our different campus departments and offices will be out promoting opportunities to get involved, to apply for jobs, and all sorts of different ways to get connected within the campus community. Terps After Dark is a series of late night events that happen for the first 6 weeks of classes in the fall semester. It helps to give students some non-alcoholic fun activities over the course of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights for those first 6 weeks. Things like special movies and lectures and performances, sporting events, and all sorts of really cool ways to get involved and connected. Student Entertainment Events is our student group here on campus that puts together a lot of those special presentations and performances. They bring in comedians and music artists and all sorts of really incredible movies and other activities. Family Weekend is going to be taking place later in September, and that's a great way to come back and visit your Terp. They've started to get their bearing here on campus, and they can show you around and all of the amazing highlight all the amazing experiences that they've had over the first couple of weeks of the semester. And then Homecoming will take place in October. Again, another opportunity to celebrate in the campus and the incredible Terp spirit that exists here at Maryland. One of the things that you can certainly check in with your student about over the course of that first semester, as Dennis said, give them some space, give them an opportunity to kind of explore the campus as they'd like, but encourage them. If they ever tell you, there's nothing to do here, I'm bored, they haven't looked around, they haven't left their room, they haven't checked to see all of the amazing activities that are happening on a regular basis. TerpLink is a website that students can check out to get connected with those various student organizations and see all of the events that are happening on a daily basis. Everything is promoted there. All the big events are highlighted on that site. So it's a great way to see exactly what's happening across this community. Students can even start their own organization by connecting over TerpLink. So all of this just highlights the variety of different ways that we help our students get connected and engaged over the course of the fall semester. So with that, we are at the end of our presentation. I want to thank you all. We've shared a lot of information. I know that we've got some questions that have been answered in the Q&A part of this Zoom session. So I'll turn it back to Danny to help highlight what additional questions we can answer here live on stream.
Thank you so much, Dan, and the rest of the Resident Life team. I have been collecting some questions. So the first one, there were a lot of questions about elevating or lofting the beds. Are there restrictions for that? And how does one know if their residence hall is one that you can lift or loft your bed? Or are there any restrictions?
Yeah, I can jump in on that one. For a lot of our students, all they're really looking for is a little bit of extra height on the bed. So if they get those kind of traditional 12-inch bed risers, which you can get at a department store, Target, Walmart type of situation, you can always get those. I believe that we actually may have some spread around a few of our communities as a free pickup if you happen to see them in the lobbies of some of our communities during move-in. But if you purchase your own, that's also okay. I just recommend don't get the ones that have the built-in outlet extenders on them. Those aren't are protected for fire safety sort of concerns. So just standard bed risers. As far as the lofts go, through bedloft.com, if you go onto the website, you plug in your student's room information, it'll indicate to you whether or not their room is available for the loft. The reason why it might not work, if they live on a top floor of a building with a sloped roof, that might not be the kind of right dimensions for a loft to fit in that space. But the website already has it all pre-loaded and preset. So no cinder blocks, no other sorts of lifting items. I would just make sure leave all of that stuff at home. The beds do have some adjustability to them as well. So if your student is living in one of our more recently constructed buildings, like the Heritage Community with Pyeongchang and Johnson Whittle, those beds have rungs on the inside of the bed ends that you can literally lift the middle part of the bed up and just put it on a higher or lower rung. In some of our other buildings, the furniture does require some tools, but we have instructions available for that to help you if you want to make the adjustments to the height on those beds.
Thank you. Is there a secure place in the residence hall or somewhere on campus where students can store important documents, like passport, or larger items like their luggage and suitcases?
I can take this one. No, there is not a secure location for passports. Some students choose to bring a lockbox or a safe, so you're welcome to do that. In terms of large items, you'd have to store them in your room. We don't have a separate storage location for large items. So many times students will send their large luggage with their family to take back. But if that's not an option, a student would need to find room in their residence hall space for those larger items.
Thank you. We always get this question. Who cleans the individual rooms? Is there janitorial staff available?
I can take this one as well. So your student will be responsible for cleaning their own bedroom. Our housekeeping staff are fantastic, and so they will clean the common area bathrooms, the lounges, stairwells, lobbies, things like that. But in the bedroom space, our students are responsible for the bedroom. If they're in a suite or an apartment, they must clean their own bathroom, their own kitchen, things like that.
Thank you. Are there security personnel in every residence hall? And are there overnight shifts for those staff?
I can jump in here. So in our residence halls, Erin mentioned this a little bit earlier, kind of referred to our on-call staff. We do have community assistants who work at our service desks in the lobbies of the buildings. They're not security staff exactly, but they're certainly, eyes that are in that common entry area of our buildings and can connect with other staff members if necessary, if they see something that should be identified or reported. We have our resident assistants and resident directors and other staff across the department who are on call on a daily basis. They're basically on call from the evening all the way through until the next day that the office is open. So there's always somebody available who is reachable through either the service desks or through the individual RAs on the floor to be able to come out and help as well. So we have all of that staff available. We do have our resident assistants do rounds of the communities every single night. So they're out there and they're engaging and they're kind of checking just generally for safety and security across the buildings. And then we do have our UMPD, our Maryland Police Department, that is accessible if we ever need to call somebody out for a more serious matter.
Can you share a little bit more about the service desk and why a student may need to visit a service desk?
Yeah, definitely. So our service desks are there for a number of different reasons. One, if a student happens to lose their key or their ID, they can pick up a spare key or ID from the service desk so that they have access to the building and access to their direct room. Our service desks also manage mail and packages, so your student will have a mailbox in the building. I don't know how often they might be checking their mail, but they should maybe check it every once in a while. But if your student gets a package, they'll get a direct notification to stop by the desk to pick it up. And then our community assistants are resources for the campus. They're there to answer questions, help students with directions to get around, to identify where resources are located, and additionally ways to get connected and involved on campus.
Thank you. And you mentioned mail, and that was actually going to be my next question. How can students find what their mailing address is? And then also, are families able to mail items in advance of move-in?
I can take this. Your student's mailing address is on our website if you navigate to your student's building. And you cannot mail things in advance because our service desks are not set up to receive them. So our service desks, otherwise, yeah, they could get rerouted. So please don't start sending things to those addresses until after your student moves in.
Thank you. Are there visiting hours in the residence halls?
I can answer this one. No, there are not visiting hours in our residence halls.
Thank you. This next question is about laundry, our favorite thing. Can you share what students are responsible for when it comes to laundry? So do they need to bring their own detergent, and what do the machines take as far as, is it pods, is it sheets, is it powder? And then how much does it cost for students to do laundry?
I can take this one. Laundry is included with your housing fee. So you don't have to worry about quarters or loading money on a card or anything like that. So unlimited laundry for your student. And you're welcome to use whatever detergent you prefer. We do ask that students monitor the washing machines so that the machines can turn over so that laundry isn't sitting in the machines for a long period of time. And every student has a designated laundry space that they have access to.
Thank you. This question came through a lot. So are there water fountains or refill stations in all of the residence halls? Are they on every floor or every other floor? Where can students find these refill stations?
That's a great question. There are many refill stations throughout our residence halls. Mostly in our main lobby areas, you can always find a refill station, but they are not consistently on every floor, but your student certainly has access to at least one in their community, and more than likely more than one.
Thank you. When will students meet their resident assistant?
I can take this one. Students should meet their resident assistant the day they move in. Our resident assistants will be busy doing some move-in responsibilities throughout the move-in process. However, they definitely will meet them at some point during the day. Often when folks get together, go to dinner and have fun and go to activities. So they will meet them definitely day one.
Thank you. And then another question, where on campus can students find the electric scooters or bikes if they don't plan to bring an electric scooter themselves?
I'll jump in on that one. So first, they should not bring an e-scooter to campus. We do not allow them in the residence halls. So what the Department of Transportation Services provides is a connection with a company called VioRide. VioRide are e-scooters that are basically all over campus. Students can download the app and they can see where scooters might be located. They can see where scooters can be dropped off as they're traversing the campus. And they can use that to kind of access the payment system for renting those scooters when they need them. So students who live in the residence halls should not bring e-scooters to the buildings at all, but are free to use the campus's provided service with all of the VioRide around the campus.
Great. And I believe I haven't looked into it too much, but I believe VO is doing like a membership that may be a little more cost effective for students if they choose to use that as an option to get around campus and around town. So definitely looking into VO and that membership is a good idea. I'm going to take a pause for the folks who were answering questions. Is there anything that you would like to cover while we still have a couple minutes?
I'm double checking the Q&A just to see if there's anything that specifically catches my attention.
Oh, I do see a question about airports and which ones will be best to get to UMD. Taking the metro, the College Park Metro, there are lines to get to DCA or Dulles. And then there also students will sometimes use BWI as well. But as far as like from one metro stop to the other, they can do Dulles or DCA. And
I
yes,
guess
the metro for folks wanting to know how far it is, there are students who will walk to the College Park Metro. There's also a shuttle that will go to the College Park Metro as well. And then hopefully we will have stops on campus soon that will make it even more accessible to get to the Metro.
just jump in real quick. I know there are always questions related to the refrigerators and microwaves and the rental options and all of those things. So Erin had highlighted about if you go to bedloft.com or myfridgerental.com, get that order in as soon as possible. Essentially, getting that order in within the next few days will ensure that the companies are able to have those items delivered directly into student rooms as you all are moving them in. Both Fridge Rental and Bedloft are going to be on campus during the 2 main move-in days. Locations will be on each side of campus. We'll have those promoted soon through our website, and we'll have staff being able to direct you to those locations. If you have questions or if you get to the room and then decide that you might want to request those rental options. They may not be able to install them immediately on the move-in days, just given the traffic and all of that, but they'll schedule an opportunity to get out to the room to do the installation. Clarification with refrigerators, you're certainly welcome to bring your own mini fridge. but microwaves are not allowed in all of our buildings in individual student rooms, except for the rental option through MyFridge Rental for the micro fridge. Each room is allowed to have one of those micro fridge combo options. So between your student and their roommate, they can coordinate who's going to put in that request for that rental option. Again, that can be delivered ahead of time, and then your student would be able to have a microwave directly in the room. They're not required to, because there are microwaves in common areas of the buildings. So you do have that additional option, or your student is able to use the lounge or common area option for the microwaves as well.
I do see a question about safety on campus at night. So there's a few resources that students can utilize if they're traveling across campus at night. So there is the night ride shuttle, so students can utilize that from 5:30 at night to 7:30 in the morning. There's also Shuttle UM that goes around campus and then surrounding communities. One of the other helpful tools is the UMD Guardian app. So I always encourage students to download the Guardian app. With that app, you can connect with someone else and have them kind of virtually walk with you or ride with you along to wherever it is you're going. And you can also connect with UMPD or 911 through that app as well. So it's the UMD Guardian app, and I will put a link in the chat with that information. So I encourage your students to download that as well. But again, Night Ride, Shuttle UM, the Guardian app, and then on the Department of Transportation website, I'll also put this link there. There are other ways and resources for students to make their way around campus safely. Let's see if there are any other questions that we can cover. It looks like most of these questions are about like lofting and the microwaves and things like that. Oh, we can go ahead and answer this one too. As far as a notification system, if there's campus emergency or lockdowns, so all students will be added to what's called UMD alerts. And so within the UMD alerts account, there can be one phone number and then 2 email addresses. And so we always encourage the phone number to be the student, so that way they can quickly get a text alert if something is happening on campus, and then also an email address that they check regularly. That second email address, we encourage students to list a parent or family member who would like to receive those alerts. So that would be a way that you can also receive those alerts. So having your email address as that second email address that's allowed for each student, but also following UMPD on all of the social networks, and then also on their website, they will have alerts posted there. So if anything is happening on campus and you want to know as far as emergency or lockdowns, it would be through the UMD alert system, and then also UMPD's social networks and their website. So I'm going to go ahead and close us out. We are coming up on an hour, and so I want to make sure we all get a meal in after this long day if we haven't already ate, like myself. So thank you all so much for taking your time to join us this evening. Contact information for Resident Life is here on this last slide. So if you do have any remaining questions, please feel free to reach out to their office or even reach out to my office, Office of Family Engagement, and I'll be happy to assist. As I bring this webinar to a close, I do want to remind you that this webinar has been recorded, and so I will be uploading that to the Terp Family YouTube channel. I'll also be going through the Q&A and trying to tidy that up and link that in the description of the YouTube recording, so that way you can get those answers as well. I will also be sending out an email to you all with a link to the recording as well as a survey. So please let us know how we did, how we can improve on future webinars, and also any other topics that you're interested in learning about. I welcome your thoughts on that. I enjoy connecting with campus partners and bringing information to you so that you can best support your student. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a great, wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everyone, and go Terps!